So the M3 MacBook Pro is here, the latest Mac updates from Apple, and it's centered around the M3 CPU. First thing to note is that Apple has now discontinued the 13-inch MacBook Pro. 14-inch MacBook Pro actually takes its place instead, and the entry-level 14-inch comes with the new M3 chip. It has a 8-core CPU, 10-core GPU, and the standard model only gets 8 gigabytes of memory, but storage starts at 512 gigabytes on the 14-inch MacBook Pro. The 16-inch MacBook Pro has the same design as the previous model, but it now comes in a new darker color called Space Black. And Apple claims it's not going to attract any fingerprints, but when I saw another video here on YouTube, they had people wiping off the Macs, but I know it's in a place where there's a lot of people, so I kind of understand it, but I'm not sure if I believe it. But it's a really nice color. It's like when you have a BMW, it says like X5 inside of it, so you know that you are driving the X5. Yeah, anyway, the highest spec build to order for the 16-inch is using the new M3 CPUs from Apple, means 16 CPU cores. Well, 12 of them are performance cores, and you can actually go up to 40 GPU cores if you go for the maxed out spec M3 16-inch MacBook Pro. You can spec it up to 128 gigabytes of memory and 8 terabytes of storage, so if you need to save on storage, you can see this do-it-yourself video I made here. The base model 16-inch MacBook Pro comes with 12 CPU cores and 18 GPU cores using the new M3 CPU, and it starts with actually 18 gigabytes of memory and 512 gigabytes of storage. And you get the same ports as the previous model. You also have more configuration options you can choose from, and we can see that ourselves on Apple website here. So if we go on the 16-inch here, we have the 12-core CPU, 18-core GPU, 18 gigabytes of memory, 512 gigabytes of storage, $2,499. Then we have 36 gigs memory, still 12-core, 18-core, $2,899. And then we have the M3 Max, 14-core, 30-core GPU, 36 gigs of memory, 1 terabyte of storage, $3,499. And we have, if we go into here, we can also configure it with M3 Max with 16-core, 40-core, and the price then is $3,999. And here are the prices for storage: $400 for 2 terabytes, $1,000 for 4 terabytes, $2,200 for 8 terabytes. Apple is claiming high prices for storage. That's why I just opted for the 1 terabyte version here I ordered. So the 14-inch can also be kitted out with the highest end options, just like the 16-inch MacBook Pro. So meaning memory, storage, and CPU. And obviously the computer is physically smaller, so the 14-inch is a good option for people that, I mean, travel a lot, but you just need the additional power. In previous testing, people have actually said that the if you go for the highest end CPU in the 14-inch MacBook Pro, it will actually maybe throttle a little bit more in the 14-inch compared to the 16-inch. So you get a little less performance from it, but we haven't tested it yet. In real life, I don't think that is something these people or those people will worry that much about, but it's just nice to know that it can be an issue at least. On the lower end spec 14-inch, you also have one less Thunderbolt port. The iMac is also getting an upgrade, not in screen size, it's still 24-inch, but it's also getting an upgrade to the M3 CPU, jumping over the M2 generation, going straight from M1. Otherwise, there's the colors are the same, and there's not much news on the iMac front. Even the accessories still use the Lightning connectors. The desktop computers, Mac Mini, Mac Studio, didn't get an update now, but I suspect they are probably going to get that next year or something like that. The star of the show is obviously the M3 chip. Its claimed performance, according to Apple, has yet to be tested, but shrinking the process node from 5 nanometers to 3 nanometers will increase performance while reducing power draw. The question is really how much, and how Apple have balanced this in terms of battery longevity, thermals and performance. All in these go hand in hand, and it's something time will show when people get their hands on these computers and can run tests. In the presentation, Apple focused a lot on performance increase from M1 and Intel to M3, not necessarily that much from the M2. Conspiracy theorists might claim that it's because of that maybe the 15 to 20% performance increase from the base M2 to M3 isn't that exciting, but honestly I think most people, they are going to upgrade from Intel or M1. I don't think there was a lot of people having M1 that upgraded from M1 to M2, except me, of course. I had the M2 Max, which I sold. But when the M2 came, everyone said that upgrading to it wasn't really necessary unless you had some specific needs. I mean, I edit videos on the now discontinued 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro, and it works really well. It just goes fluid. I'm editing this H.265 video without any issues at all. So that's the drawback of releasing something that is so good that people actually don't feel the need to upgrade. And well, why should you upgrade if it's still useful? But there are also other strange things, like the previous M2 Pro chip had a 12-core CPU with 8 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, and a 19-core GPU. The M3 counterpart has less cores, or not really, but it has a 12-core CPU with 6 performance cores instead of 8 performance cores, 6 efficiency cores, and an 18-core GPU. That's 1 GPU core less than the M2 Pro. This doesn't necessarily mean that they are lesser performing. It's just numbers. They don't really say anything, but how they perform in real life should be the facts. So we need to wait for tests about this. And Apple claims, for example, that the efficiency cores now are more effective. So maybe that was the reason they put in more efficiency cores there instead. I don't know. We have to wait and see. So Apple touched onto gaming as well, but I have to throw this into here. If the main thing you do on your computer is gaming, I mean, PC with Windows is obviously the best choice, not the Mac. But with that said, Apple seems like they are pushing a little bit into the segment. They talked about GPU and its performance in games actually. And gaming have never been as accessible on Mac as it is today. I made a video on the M2 Max, for example, when I was trying the Diablo 4 and it was working pretty good. So they focused the presentation on some of their games like Baldur's Gate 3, Resident Evil, and some other games. And obviously World of Warcraft is going to work on the Macs, and perhaps other Blizzard games when Microsoft takes over. I don't know. Apple are claiming that they have a much better GPU now for those things as well. So something that I am definitely going to test along music production, because when I'm not producing music and making videos like this, I do occasionally game, but I also see that I probably 90% productive things and maybe 10% gaming. So I guess going for Mac is probably the best choice for me for productivity at least. So I decided to order the 16-inch M3 Max with 16-core and 40-core GPU, the one with 1 terabyte of storage, and I think it was 48 gigabytes of memory. It's going to be the main computer for the foreseeable future. Perhaps, I know I have said this before and I have not done it, but we will see. When it arrives, I'm going to test it in music production, obviously, as I have done before on other Macs. I'm also going to test it in some gaming and other things used just in the typing box below there. So I need ideas from you watching this video, what you want to see, so I can make videos about this, and hopefully I can financially recover from this at some time. If you're going to buy some of these Macs, there are links to Amazon in the description below. They will support this channel without increasing the price, so if you use those links and click on those and buy a Mac through those, it's highly appreciated. If you have any questions, type them there below and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Take care, see you in a later video, goodbye.